That does beg the question, would a game based on Samus's past in the Galactic Federation even work? I'm not sure that it really would, necessarily, in this day and age. I mean, if it did happen, it would have to be based on the manga, you would think, as the manga pretty much covers the entirety of that time period in Samus's life, and I wouldn't really mind it, seeing as the manga is a really important piece of the Metroid canon, and you get some pretty critical backstory about Samus's past and who she is as a person, but would that be that well received? Would a more story-based Metroid, where Samus once again takes orders regardless of the context, making a bit more sense, really work? I mean, it sucks that the manga was never released to a Western audience, it was never translated into English, but I still think it's a pretty great work, if I'm being honest. And, you know, granted, I haven't read the official thing or anything like that, I've just read unofficial English fan translations online, and I would encourage anyone who's, like, interested in the Metroid lore at all and who hasn't read it, to go ahead and give it a try if you want to. Again, I guess the accuracy of it could be considered dubious as it's not an official source, but it's a really good read. I don't really know how it stacks up to the rest of the manga medium because, well, I don't really read manga much at all, but I think it's a pretty nice work, and like I said, there's some really good illustrations in there. I think the story's pretty great, gives a lot of interesting context to Samus as a person. I don't think it's all that offensive either. Although I bet in this day and age in 2019, people would probably take offense to the portrayal of Samus in that manga, which is kind of sad, I guess, even though the context would be that she was still really young and early in her career, because the entirety of that story takes place pre-Zero Mission, so... But I don't know, man. Maybe it's just something that's better left to history, that we just kind of forget it ever happened because, well, there's just all kind of stigmas around it now. Sucks. And that sucks too! Okay, this guy again. I think this is the last time we'll ever have to take this guy down, but he's going to be quite stingy right here as he's very, very fast. Luckily, this is not a very enclosed area like the other two times we've had to take him down, but oh man, when you're fast enough to where you can dodge the beam shots, man, like that's bad news. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Put your missile in there. Come on, there we go. Going for the kill, Samus. I don't even know if I can kill it right here. Yeah, it's going to do a lot of damage. This thing is way more sturdy than that. This thing is something else, though. I don't know the name of this thing. It probably does have an official name from the artwork. And it looks like you can really only get a wave beam shot in there once it swipes at you now, because it's just moving way too freaking fast. Oh, and it strikes her too fast as well. Let's see if I need to get a way to freeze those antenna on it, I guess. So I would be interested in finding out the official name of this thing. I could probably look it up pretty easily. Okay, man, it's still standing after two of those, huh? And it can fly constantly now, too. Survive lava, fly, shoot missiles at us, take constant barrages of our missiles and wave beams. Boy, this is the ultimate life form right here, man. This is rough. Where is it going now? Well, you're not getting away that easy. Looks like it's vulnerable to the missiles! And there we go. I think that's the last time we deal with that guy. I think he's gone for good. Oh. Like I said, it really is nice to kind of encounter these bosses sporadically, kind of see how they unleash more of their power as we get more of ours, and it really is gratifying whenever you take down a mini-boss, because that guy is technically a mini-boss, I think. He doesn't really count as like one of the core bosses. But you finally take down one of those guys after they have given you so much trouble in the past. But with that, where are we on the map exactly? Looks like we are kind of back in familiar territory right here. We're still kind of far away from where that nav booth that we're ultimately going for is going to be. This is a new area, but I believe this will pop us out in a more familiar one. You again? Huh. This is one of those guys we haven't seen in a long time. It's like one of those Mawile creatures. I'm surprised you can survive in this environment, buddy, but we are way too tough for you right now. Go back to the biosphere. Jeez. Yeah, now we have some more kind of mandatory backtracking right here. Which, again, I don't really get when people say that, like, Other M doesn't have any backtracking. Or is that not really even a criticism? Was it more just that it's too linear? Well, I suppose so. Like, it's definitely more linear than most Metroid games. It's kind of comparable to Prime 3 Corruption in that manner. But I wouldn't say that there isn't any backtracking or that everything isn't really interconnected or things like that. I don't really think that's a valid argument. I think it's definitely perfectly valid to say, like, it's too linear and things like that. But, again, you know, if you've kind of been following where the series has been going up to that point, with Fusion and Prime 3 in both the 2D and 3D styles, I mean, this was kind of an inevitability, as it were, and I don't know, it kind of complements the gameplay style, too, because the more I played this, the more that I realized the more constrictive level design is definitely by design, right? Not only to accommodate all the power-ups that we're eventually going to get through Other M, because we still have quite a few to go, believe it or not, right here, but also just because of the action-oriented gameplay and things like that. So I think really the linear setup was a necessity more than anything else, which is, I don't know, kind of tough to swallow in a Metroid game, really, but actually I don't even think we have to missile this thing anymore. Yeah, it looks like these things are still protecting it. Get out of the way, please. yeah, with the wave beam, we can just take that thing down no problem with the missile. So it really is kind of that sense of progression of power right now. We're seeing all these enemies that gave us problems whenever we gamed this sector for the first time in the past, and now we're just blazing through them absolutely no problem. It does feel really good, actually. Okay, and I think we're going through there again, actually, yeah. I think if we fall all the way down again, there's like a lava pit that'll kill us. So I just want to make sure, though. Just go down slowly. There's actually stuff down here, although I don't think we want to go there just yet. We do want to keep backtracking until we get to one of these superheated areas, right, which is also going to be really nice, because again, that kind of progression of power we now have very soon. We have some more freedom to kind of explore that area right now. Although I don't think there was anything in the game right now. Let's go ahead and check that map again that really tells us that this is the route we have to go. I mean, you have your eventual destination over there, like the Prime series will kind of do, if you meander it around a bit. But it's perfectly possible that you have no idea where to go right now, and that you just kind of have to wander around aimlessly in order to figure that out. Hopefully you guys are easier to take down with the wave beam. Yeah, looks like they are indeed. So what I'm getting at is that it is still perfectly possible to get lost in Metroid Other M, okay? Yeah, we're kind of late in the game at this point, for sure. You know, we're definitely kind of, gradually going towards the end right here, but it's a feature that isn't missing completely. It's not something that they completely abandoned in this Metroid game. And again, it's like, how many times have I said this now? It is comparable to Metroid Fusion, which, for the first beginning portions of the game, was a very linear experience. The computer told you exactly where to go, not always how to get there, of course, which Other M kind of has, due to its more linear structure in general with the map design and things like that, but it definitely was an element that was there in the past. And then, just like Fusion, the whole thing does kind of open up towards the end. And of course, it goes without saying that at the very end, you know, once we have everything and we're kind of in the end-game, we'll be free to go wherever we want in the station for power-up collection and things like that. So the whole thing does eventually completely open up. It's not like any main sector permanently closes or anything like that. But again, it is just kind of a logical progression of what Fusion was really doing. And, you know, maybe logical progression as we have the grapple beam right here, so this is where you're supposed to go. In fact, I remember getting lost at this period in the game, I think. I didn't know to come out here, because I had forgotten the grapple beam points were out here. I remember just kind of wandering around this sector kind of aimlessly for a while. Which is kind of a main aspect of Metroid, one could argue, since the very beginning, for sure, just kind of wandering around and things like that. But where was I going with that? I was mentioning something before I got to the grapple beams, but my brain has been so, I'm not going to say like scatterbrained in this playthrough, but I just have so much to say that I don't really know if it's all like organized, really. And definitely it's not, you know, it's not everything that I'm talking about has not been something that's planned out, it's just been something that I've been talking about on top of, you know, playing the game and things like that, so it can be kind of tricky right here. I'm not even going to bother with you guys, what's the point? I don't even know if there are any power-ups in this area, so if there are, I don't think we can get them right now. I think we're going to need an extra layer of protection to the suit in order to do that right there, but yeah. What I'm saying, though, is that it is possible to get lost in Other M, and the game does slowly kind of open up. And yeah, we can definitely see after taking that hallway right there that, the destination is closer than we might think. Well, let's go ahead and do that. I mean, things are definitely getting a tad bit more ominous. Well, that is, yeah, but it's time to start really talking about this thing, I suppose. Now, maybe it was just a stupid... I'm not going to spoil anything. You know, if you're watching this and somehow have never played and or heard of Other M. At this point, I had not yet figured it out. I'm not going to lie. Maybe, again, I was just a stupid 14 to 15-year-old. I hadn't really put the pieces together. And it's obvious in retrospect, and I'll talk about this more later. It really is kind of obvious in retrospect what's going on right here, but I hadn't put the pieces together the first time I'd played this. And I think they do a good job kind of concealing it and things like that. You know, maybe I should wait to talk about this until, you know, it won't be spoilers, but just know that either I'm really stupid, or they did a good job of kind of building this up. I think maybe if my brain had been a bit more developed, I would have completely figured it out, but I was in the dark at this point, and okay, let's do it.
Get out the way! exit at?
The exit, huh? Well, I would think it would be like a door somewhere. This is another one of those things where I'm like, blah, but yeah, it's right here. We've been seeing these the whole game.
Duck. This ain't good. Well, only one thing to do, huh? Let's tear this thing up.
Wait, Anthony. Leave this one to me. Don't waste your plasma.
Alright, well, I guess, well, we can tell who it is exactly, but I guess it is very, very dark in here, and Samus doesn't have something like the X-ray scope, I think, so I guess we're trying to take this thing down in the dark. Can't really see it, though. Well, let's go ahead and try the first person, perhaps. Looks like it's just fire from above.
Press the eruption port to get the magma flowing.
The eruption port, huh? This thing right here?
Use your super missiles.
Ah, it is about time. Just like the Prime series, 5 missiles per shot. Or was that 10? Pretty sure it was 5, but yeah, we got the super missiles, baby. Let's do it.
Samus, do you copy? Samus! Samus, use your plasma beam! No! What's your status?
He can't be!
Samus, do you read me? Samus!
Don't you know how to treat a lady? Man, you got no style. I think I gotta teach you a lesson about subtlety. Come on!
Anthony! Don't do it!
Come on!
And with that, we hit the plasma beam, the most powerful beam in the game, most powerful beam in the series right now. All right, nice. In the battle against Ridley, everyone. Nice. Never saw the loading screen before. That's kind of strange right there. But yeah, we will talk about the cutscene, okay? We will talk about the cutscene because it is probably my single most unpopular opinion concerning this game, okay? And it's something I'm willing to die on the hill that I'm going to create for this game right here. But for right now, let's go ahead and focus on the actual battle, Ridley himself, and this music. Let me shut up for a second. Okay, again, that was kind of more than a second. I can see that right there, but this is, and I really don't know if anyone can disagree with me. I guess you can, you know, it's music, it's a preference, but I think this is hands down the best rendition of the Ridley battle theme, like bar none. I don't think it's even really freaking close, to be honest. I don't think any other rendition that we've ever seen, like, even comes close to really matching this, as Ridley is very difficult. As perhaps I need to focus a bit more, as I'm getting torn up right now, but of course, Ridley's going to be quite difficult. We can see in his battle patterns, a lot of the Super Metroid kind of battle patterns right here. Like, to get above you and try to swipe you with his tail right there. Very Super Metroid thing right there. And you can't really, I mean, you can hurt him when he's in the air, but he's much more kind of guarded and not as susceptible to damage right there. Alright, I think that's going to be the fireball right there. Go ahead and jump over that. Yeah, I did not even notice that my energy tanks are freaking half depleted. I've got to watch out here. Maybe I should be pummeling him with super missiles a bit more. Okay, yeah, let's go ahead and dodge that a bit more. But yeah, the design of Ridley right here, I love how Ridley is introduced in this game. I think it's freaking fantastic. No! Oh god, it hurt me before I got it off. Okay, I can do this, I can do this. I've always had trouble with the Ridley boss fight. Oh, so we're gonna have this nice little just that tribute to Smash Bros. Melee? I don't know, oh boy. Yeah, this is quite the difficulty jump up. Okay, don't worry, I can do it, I can do it. But yeah, I love the introduction to Ridley, I love how sinister he looks, I think this is the best design of Ridley by far. I think he looks, you know, like tattered and beaten, like he has been through some crap, and oh, this could be it. Hold up. Come on. See if I can focus right here. Focus, 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 focus. Oh, Barry. Okay. Oh, right before he goes in for the kill. Okay. Super missile, super missile, super missile. Oh, God, I cannot. Oh, he's too fast. Yeah, I love the design. I love the soundtrack that's going on. I love the battle. It's really tense. It's actually really difficult compared to everything else in the game. Oh, God. He uses the tail so freaking much, because of course he uses the tail. He's always used the tail. It's always been the most annoying thing. Taking back to the Super Metroid days. Oh, can you stop it, please? Okay. Come on, hit him again. Alright, I had enough time to focus last time. I should have enough time this time. Come on, come on, come on. And then dodge it at the last second. Okay. I think I've got to get off a super missile here. And, oh god, his reach is too large. Come on. Yeah, we're not doing any actual damage whenever he does this. Come on. Come on, Samus, go. Ah, god, he's too close again. Okay, when he charges at me, I think... Okay, maybe I can do it now. Okay, looks like it's worn off already. There we go. That should do it. Okay, finally got the super missile off. I think we're slowly making damage. As long as I can get the plasma beam to where it actually does damage, we should be fine. It's just when he's invulnerable to the plasma beam that it just really hurts, because you have to get that super missile in or wait for it to, or kind of wait it out, kind of the rage mode. Okay, keep dodging, keep dodging. I'm not even going to try and hit him when he's in the air. The tail's too freaking fast. Come on. Whew. Almost got him. Oh, God, this again. I do love, it's like, I said, like, tribute to Melee, because of course they did that in the legendary Melee opening right there. It was really cool. And I almost have him. Oh god, this is tense. Come on. Yes! Oh. God, did not get to talk about that boss fight as much as I wanted, because, whew, that's a clincher right there.
I wondered if Anthony was conscious as he hit bottom. Unbearable thoughts welled up in me, making me want to get as far away as I could. I regretted not being able to protect him. And I regretted thinking, even for a moment, that he would betray me, or fail to come to my aid at the expense of his own safety.
Whew, there we go. Got it. Okay, well, I did not get to go in-depth with that boss fight as much as I kind of wanted to, just the mechanics of the boss fight. But I think I got my thoughts on Ridley in this game over well enough right there, so... Let's go ahead, and we do have super missiles now, so I can go through the store. Let's go ahead and talk about that cutscene right there. That is one of the most controversial parts in all of Other M. Some people saw that as a complete assassination of Samus's character, that was the worst thing ever, and that alone kind of ruined Other M for them. So what actually happened in that scene? I think Samus kind of had like a panic attack or a brief attack of PTSD. I think, of course, they're not really the same. They might have kind of like the same roots and what causes them. I'm not a medical professional. I don't know that. I always saw that as some kind of anxiety attack because she's kind of frozen. She's really scared. She doesn't really know what to do at that point in time. So let's establish some context for this at first. All right. In Sakamoto's mind, and I'm not saying this is right, and I'm not saying that this was the right decision to make, in Sakamoto's mind, the Prime series was not canon at this point. I think that's very clear. I can't really blame him either because he had no creative input on the Prime series. So really, he had no creative input on it. The series had kind of been hijacked by these cowboy Texans from the United States, right? So I don't really blame him for discounting that. So let's keep that context in mind, all right? Again, I'm not saying that's right or that that's good. That's what Sakamoto was thinking when he created this game. He was also thinking that the manga was canon at this point. And I think it is still canon for the most part. And he was assuming that his audience had read it because, again, like I've discussed, I feel that Other M was primarily for a Japanese audience. So it seemed kind of like a safe assumption to make, perhaps on his part, that his audience had read the manga and they were aware of what Samus had gone through in the manga when it concerned Ridley. And again, guys, if you look at Samus's first encounter with Ridley in that manga, it's horrific. It's actually really heartbreaking. Like I said, she's trying to make friends with Ridley because that's the lesson she's just learned, and Ridley was having none of it. He slaughtered her parents right in freaking front of her. But that's not the only encounter that she has with Ridley in that manga. In fact, the first time that she sees him again, this is after she has the power suit, she has a very vicious panic attack, and I will try to put the panels on screen if I can find them. Like I said, it's actually kind of horrendous. Like, you really feel for her in that moment, so... And I guess that's understandable, because that's the first time she ever saw Ridley, and Ridley was the catalyst of her very traumatic past, not only destroying her home, but her parents as well. And it makes sense to know that she would have that type of panic attack, that type of PTSD, as I'll get another energy tank from collecting that right there. So, with that history in mind, that the manga is canon and that the Prime series in Sakamoto's mind was not, Samus had really only encountered Ridley twice. And I know with the Prime series that would have been 4 times, so it would have been like, well, she would have gotten over it by that point, right? Number one, I'm not sure that's how anxiety or panic attacks actually work. I don't know if you ever really, get over them. I think you kind of conquer them in the moment, which is what she does in the manga, and which kind of translates to what she does in Zero Mission as well.
Something was gnawing at me.
More on that later.
Communication with Adam had ceased. From the deleter's point of view, Adam would represent the largest threat. Without question, his life had to be in danger. But it was Adam Malkovich. He wouldn't go down easily. And Adam would already know about the deleter, so there's no way he would let his guard down. If that was the case, then why couldn't I reach him? What did he think of the unfolding situation, and what was he planning to do next? My racing thoughts started to frustrate me.
And it looks like the deleter is right in front of us, heading towards Sector 1 yet again, but I am not done talking about Ridley. I will talk about Ridley until I've gotten my point across. Okay, so like I was saying, with that in mind, in Sakamoto's mind, the only encounters that Samus has had with Ridley are in Zero Mission, which the manga kind of covers because the time period is kind of the same, in which she does have that pretty vicious panic attack that I'm gonna try to remember to put on screen for you guys to see. And 2, in Super Metroid, where she actually does defeat him. I think it's implied in Zero Mission that Ridley was able to kind of... Well, it can't really be implied, really, but because the planet didn't blow up, I guess there was the possibility that he would have come back. That was not the case in Super Metroid, when Samus not only defeated him for the second time, but also the freaking planet blew up, so there was a very logical reason to assume that Ridley was absolutely no more, that he could never come back. Like the freaking planet that he was on, he couldn't escape and eat dead corpses to regenerate himself, which is what he does in the manga to try to justify how he keeps coming back and things like that. So with this context in mind, let's get to Other M here. Because at that point, the Samus Returns had not yet retconned Ridley into the story yet. Ridley was completely absent in Metroid 2 as far as the canon at this point was concerned. So those were the only encounters that Samus had with Ridley. So let's go to Other M right here. I have always seen that scene right there, where she briefly has the panic attack, and then conquers the panic attack after she sees her friend die, and then she kicks Ridley's ass against, okay, yeah, these are the power-up beetles right here. I have always seen that as a scene of empowerment, alright? I never saw that as a complete destruction of Samus's character. Because if you're going to have a good character, as I would like to do the badass finisher on these guys, but it's kind of difficult because they're so hardy. If you're going to have a good, compelling character, that character needs to have flaws, and they need to be able to conquer those flaws, or they need to face difficult situations, and they need to be able to conquer those difficult situations. And that is exactly what Samus does. It's not like she cowers in a corner for the entire time, and that she never defeats Ridley, and that someone like Anthony or Adam has to step in to do it for her. That's not something that happens. She conquers the fear, she conquers what she has in that moment, and she kicks Ridley's ass in a really awesome fight, if you ask me. Now, I see that 100% as a complete sign and signal of empowerment, that you conquered your fears, you conquered your flaws, and you did it in a flashy way, in a battle that was awesome. And I don't have anxiety, I don't have PTSD, I'm not going to claim to be a subject about what you feel whenever you are in that moment and you have to deal with that kind of thing. But I have many friends, in fact a very, very good friend of mine, and I'm going to get a little personal here, just to kind of strengthen the personal opinion that I have about this situation. One of my very best friends in the entire world, someone who I treasure very dearly, she, for the longest time, and still right now, still does have pretty constant anxiety attacks, and it was always really difficult to kind of be around her because I felt really powerless at the time, and I bet that's how she felt too. But, however, whenever I would try to, like, talk her out of it or try to calm her down, and she would sometimes tell me that, like, no, I can deal with this, I know that I'm strong enough to deal with this, and she would kind of push me away and just be like, I can handle this on my own, and things like that. And that's kind of how I see this situation with Samus right here. Yeah, she has a traumatic past. You never really, conquer your anxiety or conquer your PTSD. I don't think it's something that you ever cure. I mean, regardless of whether or not, how many times she may have faced him down, I don't really think it's relevant. I think maybe if you have a problem with that, the context that I gave you about the manga and Prime not being canon, and Sakamoto's mind can kind of help with that, but even regardless of that, isn't it a really empowering thing when we have our hero right here, and she has this flaw, she has this thing that she has to power through, and she freaking does it. She conquers it. She kicks Ridley's ass. She gets through the situation. She does it by herself. She does it with her best weaponry, her plasma beam, and her super missiles. It's just, I always saw that 100% as a scene of empowerment and really strengthening Samus as a character. I feel like she is a stronger character doing that, because it doesn't matter if she has anxiety about this one enemy. It doesn't matter if she constantly kind of goes after her and tortures her, that she will conquer it, she will overcome it. And that makes her more relatable to me. It makes her a better character to me. And I think the criticism mainly comes from, well, it doesn't make sense, she's fought him 5 times before. Again, the given context, I've told you about Prime not being canon in the manga, on top of, I don't know if anxiety is something you cure exactly, but besides that, she conquered the fear. She didn't succumb to it. It didn't conquer her. She wasn't defeated by it. Ridley doesn't beat her right there. I just always 100% saw that as a scene of empowerment, and I think at this point, and this is just conjecture on my part, sure, I think at this point people have probably decided that they didn't want to like Other M, that they didn't like the combat, they didn't like the structure of the game, that they didn't really like how Samus was monologuing, they didn't like the voice acting over at this point, and I think that was maybe the convenient cherry on top, as it were, of just kind of disliking Other M as a whole. And like I said, at the top, this is probably my most controversial Other M opinion, because I really, okay, yeah, I know I can do this, come on. Jump up, there we go, and there should be a hidden goodie up here. Again, I understand that's probably my most controversial Other M opinion, but that is really what, honest to God, how I feel about it. That it does make her a stronger character, that it does make her a better character right there. But I guess if you had already decided that Samus shouldn't be a character, that she should just be a wordless badass with no flaws, avatar of the player and things like that, then, maybe you don't see it my way, but I hope that I've explained it, not necessarily eloquent enough, but I hope that I have explained it in a way that kind of makes sense, that there aren't any real holes in it. And again, there were problems with Sakamoto assuming that timeline in the first place, for sure. There were problems with the manga not being available in official capacity for the English-speaking audience. There was a problem with assuming that that was canon in the first place when it wasn't available to us at all. These are all problems, for sure. But at its heart, I see Samus conquering her anxiety about Ridley I think that makes a strong character, and I think it makes a good character in this context as well. And I'm really not backing down from that. Like I said, I'm willing to die on that hill, because that is honestly, truly what I think about that situation.